How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episode review. Today's episode is episode 19 of the second season, technically part 2, entitled Desert Journey. And before I go any further, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more reviews like this one. And please, if you want to support me even further, my Patreon link is in the description below. Yeah. Oh, happy Memorial Day weekend for all of you who are off and celebrate. So we had, actually, speaking of having things off, we had a whole week off, which kind of threw me for a loop. But then, you know, we had Demon Slayer in the meantime. Actually, was it just a week or was it 2 weeks? I feel like it was 2 weeks, but either way it goes. So now we got double Sunday anime. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to take care of that. But fear not, we're gonna go all the way to the end of this. And since this is episode 19, I feel as though we're probably gonna stop on episodes 24 or 26. So that leaves 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 more episodes. So another month and a half or so. And we're picking right back up because, you know, Norn guilted Rudy into going and doing this. And after some spoilery research, I found out, okay, this might have been in his best interest to go. But she guilted him after he decided to not listen to the human man god and, you know, stay at home and then go and bone one of the beast girls. His advice was weird. So, in order to break things to everybody, first, he talks to Elinalise, who I, for now on, be calling Lise, because I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, and saying Lise is a lot easier. And she's kind of surprised. She's like, I told you I would do it for you, but he's like, no, I'm going to do it. I got to do it for my family, blah, 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 blah. And we got good news, and then we got feels, and then we got the stuff towards the end. So let's talk about the good news first. But as they are discussing this, because I'd like to give you all the details, they're discussing this, he tells her, look, if you're still going to come, talk to Cliff properly, okay? Don't break up with him. Just have a real conversation with him. And Rudy's very mature. He's actually always been mature. I mean, granted, he has the mind of a 30-something person. And I just found out in this episode that he's actually 16. Wow. Ancient medieval wizard times, right? But I digress. So, good news is it's not going to take as long as he thought it would, because generally going from there to Begaritt would be, well, he initially thought it'd be a year and then another year back, so that's 2 years. But Lise tells him, well, no, it takes 8 years, because remember, she's older, so she has experience. She's never been, but she knows it'll take 8 months, 8 months forward and back. And he's like, oh man, that's the great thing about, wisdom that comes with age. And she's like, don't push it. So even better news is when he tells Nanahoshi, she's like, look, I'm gonna be gone for about 2 years, so I'm sorry, when I come back I'll get right back to it. And Nanahoshi's like, hold on, and throws him a map and says there's a teleportation circle in the forest that'll lead you to a shrine in Sharia, that if you go north of there, you go through the desert, you'll get to Begaritt. The place they're trying to get to is Rapan, which Rapan kind of looks like Japan. So Rapan or Rapan. Interesting, isn't it? I digress. This makes it a lot easier because the travel from that shrine up is just a month. And he said, I thought you said the teleportations were lost. And she's like, my lips were sealed. I'm telling you, based on other things that happen, which I'll get to in a minute, her connect is Orsted, period. And I don't know if she's in love with the Dragon Man or not. She might be, but her connect is Orsted. And she flat out tells him, look, do not tell anybody about these circles, because if the government finds out, they're going to erase it because they're forbidden. I guess they're worried about like battles and people invading. I don't think it's necessarily about the teleportation the mass teleportation incident, that probably didn't help either. But yeah, it'd be so much easier. They go through Griffin Place and this desert. I think it's called the Shiraya Desert to get to Rapan. It's so much easier to get there, right? They also, both Lise and Lise and Rudy, they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do it because she still has her curse. Cliff was able to make her garment smaller. It just takes the edge off because when they're camping out, she goes into the oasis after they get there so she could, go man hunting. She still has to do it. I do know the real reason why she won't do it, Rudy, and it has nothing to do with Sylphie, which is funny. There's other information, but I want to talk about that stuff when we get over to the demon continent towards Begaritt. So let's talk about some of the feels here, right? So when Rudy finally talks to his family, of course, Norn doesn't look surprised because she's basically the reason why he's even going. And Aisha's surprised, and Sylphie's all for it. She's like, all right, go just, come back to me. And he's like, I'm sorry for disappearing on you. She's like, this doesn't really count. But she thinks it's going to take over a year. And he's like, actually, Nanahoshi, help me with that. Just take a month. Or at least a couple months. So you can get back in time before the baby's born. And he's thinking, he tells Aisha, ask for help from those who you really trust. Do not try to do everything on your own, especially if you need help. Tells Norn that she needs to help out Aisha and Sylphie as well. He gives them little sister pats on the head, and then he says, let's come up with the baby name. And I guess in this world, if you're going on a trip and you come up with a baby name before the baby's there, it's a bad omen, meaning that you won't come back alive. And so Aisha says, how about this? You name the baby when you come back, but if you don't come back in time, we'll call the baby Rudeus Jr., which is equal parts funny, equal parts cute. And he does his goodbye tour, tells the Beast Girls in a montage, of course. We see the Zenoba clan. They help him pick a big ass horse. And the person bringing back the horse is on a small horse, but there's a big ass, look like a Clydesdale, if anything. And Cliff, of course, he proposes to Lise. He is literally, first of all, she loves him so much, but he's literally ignoring, because she goes, I wasn't even going to tell you, and I was going to break up with you. I'm such a terrible woman. He's like, we'll do a Millis ceremony. I hope you don't mind. I know you're not a follower, and I'm going to get a house, and we'll live together. And this dude just, Mac Daddy, putting it all on the line for her. So, I mean, she's a decent catch when you get past the curse that makes her have to be promiscuous, which I'm going to get into that in a minute, too. So their goodbyes, they leave. Sylphie does end up crying, and Rudy says at the beginning of this episode, if I tell her and she's up crying, it's enough to make me stay. She doesn't cry until he's far enough to not see her. Rudy couldn't even say goodbye to Baki Daki either because he has not been around for a while. But he did make his rounds, leave of absence, to the vice principal, who's it, what's it. I wrote his name down in here, but that's not important, right? Excuse me, that's not important. The best part of this episode is how it falls under world building. So part of world building is when they get to the shrine. And remember I told you I think it's Orsted that's her connect, obviously, because that's who she hangs out with. But at the same time, the shrine has a dragon mark on it. Rudy also borrowed a book on teleportation. It's a book that he used when studying the mass teleportation incident while working with Sylphie when she was still known as Fitz. But the thing that he recites talks all about this holy dragon. Wait a minute, if I can find this. Nanahoshi also says she's doing this for Rudy because she owes him one, which I'm glad they have a friendship. Wait. Nope. Horse, teleport, Julie Bowcut. Couldn't remember Zenoba's name when I was doing my notes. House together, blah, blah, blah. I have a thing to tell you in a second. That's a sick joke. Yeah. Dragon live for convention. None could escape the reach of his magnificent arms. The second dragon to die. The dragon general with the most ethereal eyes. Scales of green silver. The holy dragon emperor Shirad. I hereby break the seal. And then I like how like the air ripples, because this was, I guess in magic terms, a glamour. For those of you who are not familiar with glamour, a more famous example is what Loki does whenever he, makes himself look different. Or remember when he was stuck in the room in what was that Dark World, and he made it look like he was okay, but he was actually, torn up about their mom dying. A glamour is to make something look like something else. This looks like a barrier glamour because all the ripples in the air, and then suddenly the shrine is there. And Rudy even marks when they get to the other side. It's like, okay, we can see out. The magic is stopping anything from seeing this. So they're able to camp there, because if they can't really move too much at night. So camping there, that's what they do. We also learn that teleportation has a lag, because they were Rudy wanted to test if going both ways actually worked. Lise went instead, so she makes a little joke about saying, I don't want Paul to be like, I lost his son somewhere, because sometimes the circles might take you someplace else. And then she comes back, and in her point of view, she left and then instantly came right back. For Rudy, it took her a while. So that's interesting to know about teleportation lags. What was the funny thing I was going to talk about? Right. Lise telling Sylphie, never fear, nothing will go wrong. Famous last words. Very famous last words. So the world feeling alive, right? Obviously, towards the end of this episode, they get to Rapan, and the massive bones of whatever creature that was. For those of you who know Xenoblade, look up Xenoblade with the massive, colossal. It's hard to even describe, because it's not a giant. These things are way past gargantuan. It's almost like the sandworms from the new Dune. It's a better example would be the giant colossal beings from Xenoblade, because they built whole cities on top of those things. And then here, whatever thing this was, there is that whole oasis city of Rapan right underneath it, with the ribs and the giant skull. Because in here we see a giant freaking scorpion that they have to take out. We see griffins, so we get a sense of scale, and I like that. I like to feel that was prepared in advance. I do like the montages, because the montage was like, all right, we're showing you that some of this stuff happened. You can infer some of things, but we're moving forward. I enjoy the oasis. I don't know if that was the bazaar, but I enjoy the oasis where, Rudy takes the food and you can tell he likes it because he keeps getting more and more. Stuff like that. And especially when you can understand clear and present dangers. Rudy runs into, so let's talk about the funny, horny incident with the succubus, because obviously Lise is horny. She's hugging her sword, and she's just like, and Rudy's like reaching for her, and she calls Cliff in her sleep, and he's like, ooh, that was close. I didn't think I was this backed up, man. I didn't think it's been that long. I thought I was fine. No, there's a woman out there in the sand groping herself, and Rudy's she's beckoning him to come forward. This ain't Morgan from Darkstalkers. No, because as he's moving forward, Lise comes in and stabs the thing, like, get a hold of yourself as a succubus. And she goes from hot lady with a veil to giant bat thing. She takes this thing out herself. Lise is very, very strong. I like seeing her speed. I don't know if her strength is part of the speed, or if the strength is separate from the speed, because momentum allows you to stab things easier. But yeah, they work really well as a team. So I'm going to infer that when she accompanied him from that one town that he was in the frozen north all the way to Renova, the magical city, I'm going to assume that they did some fighting in between there. Obviously, because she met, oh man, I forgot the name of our guy who helped, who was trying to help Rudy, and they came to an understanding. I forgot about that. I can't believe I forgot his name. I digress. They had to have done some fighting together. I like the scale and the scope of that. But that succubus fight, and then Rudy towards the end was going, hey, let's just do a little something dirty. And she bonks him with the shield. Like, you need to detoxify yourself. Because obviously there was like something pink wafting in the air. And he tries to apologize. She teases him like, yeah, a little something dirty, huh? But we get into some more feels here, right? After they kill the griffins, because there was a griffin for each of them. Rudy took care of his and assisted hers with her griffin. Because, it flies, and she's a melee fighter with a medium buckler shield. And, they freaking obliterate these things, man. Like, they're a daily combo. But I guess Rudy has seasons. He seasons his food. And she's like, I like your season. She's licking her fingers. And he says, mind your manners. And she's like, you sound just like your mom. And, his mom had scolded her, saying, don't forget you're a girl. You should be more careful about these things. What things, I wonder? And I told you Rudy was 16. Zenith apparently traveled with them, Paul and Paul's group, around the same age that Rudy was, when I'm still going like, how the hell are you still 16? How are you still in your teens? Holy shit. And she's just a little girl Paul picked up. And Rudy says, my father really wants to apologize to you about something. Like, she's like, what happened? She says, I bet you don't know. You don't want to know about your father's messy love life, right? And I'm like, even my notes, I'm like, I knew it. He didn't want to know, but in his mind, like, I can imagine more or less the drama that Paul had. And he's like, I'm sure when we get to Rapan, he'll apologize. And it's like, nothing he can say will make me forgive him. It's time for me to do some speculation now, because this review is not going to be all that long, for my reviews at least. I wonder if before he picked up Zenith, they were an item, and it was all too apparent that they were doing the thing. They had a thing going on. And I legitimately wonder if he cheated on Lise with Zenith, or with Ghislaine. She being Elinalise has this curse where I gotta do it. I gotta do it in order to, get these crystals. And Paul seemed like the type of dude to do it a lot. Hell, he got got promiscuous with Lily, Aisha's mom. Him and Zenith doing it all the time made her go, I can't take it no more. Give me some of that. So I think that might have been a thing. Perhaps they were pretty damn close. That would explain why she's not boning Rudy. I don't think it's because he's Paul's kid, as in, looking like him, or I don't want to have my family connected to him, because your family's already connected to, you're already connected to him via family, because he's married to your granddaughter, right? And they're going to have a kid. You're going to be a great grandma. I think whatever Paul did was so bad that if she laid down with Rudy and she saw, she just looked in his face and like, you look just like Paul, it probably would have made her stomach churn. That's just my thoughts. And I have a feeling towards the end of this labyrinth, because they're looking for a labyrinth. So towards this labyrinth arc, she probably will find it in her to forgive him. Just my thoughts there. But yeah, I really do want to know, like, what the hell happened. And it's funny, I actually finished most of the things that I was going to talk about without looking at the notes. So next week's episode, I actually have to look at that, is entitled Into the Labyrinth. We are not stalling at all. So I actually wonder if I wonder how many episodes we're going to be in the labyrinth, because our intro is the labyrinth, right? It's all about re-meeting people. So is the labyrinth going to be like 21, 2, 3, 21, 2, 3, 4? Maybe those 5 episodes be the whole labyrinth thing. You wrap it up, you go home, you have 2 more episodes to reflect on things. Whatever happens. I'm also kind of sad that there are no like good, what's what I'm looking for, like good succubus. At least in other things, like succubi are just demons that are gonna try to kill you after they get their way, and they are technically in the demon continent. So it makes me wonder: are succubus like intelligent being like the other beings we've seen in this world, or are they just basically like monsters, like the goblins and the giant scorpion and the cool ass griffins? It makes you think. It's also called Griffin. I think it was called Griffin Canyon. I need to see if I can look on this sheet again. What was it called? It's called Griffin Ledges. But they spell Griffin Gryphon and not Griffon. So, yeah. Into the labyrinth. I'm looking forward to more cool ass magical fights, because now we got all our heart stuff out of the way with the beginning into this one. We're getting all our fight stuff in. So, can't wait. This episode gets a 4.5 out of 5 from me. It's not... It's so close to being perfect. It's just a feeling I have. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. The montages were used well, but I give it that extra 0.5 because of the bit of world building they did. Hell, even the music that played when they got to this desert area was usually associated with Middle Eastern music, at least in movies, with the it's kind of like the ending, when the ending comes up for the next episode, and as it goes, it sounds a little bit like that, just a little bit. So imagine what Hollywood thinks the Middle East and the sands sound like with that music. That's kind of what played here. So it's interesting, especially with some of the stuff I know about this world from the light novels and the research I've done. I find that kind of interesting, especially with other theories I have about this place. But that's just the atmosphere. I'm giving a point and a half a point because of the atmosphere. It's fun. We're not wasting time. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, please. I genuinely would like to know. Don't forget, comments right there. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of more reviews like this one. Thanks for taking some time out to listen to me talk about Mushoku Tensei, guys. Please, be good, be blessed. Wash your hands. Drink some water. All right. Stay safe out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. All right. Responsibly enjoy this holiday weekend. And please realize there are people out there that care about you. Reach out to someone if you're feeling down, depressed, you're feeling hurt. I promise you, the people in your life would rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. And even if you think you don't have anybody in your life, I promise you, there's somebody out there that wants to talk to you. All right. You can find me, my social medias in the description below. Give me a follow, send me a message, say hi. As long as you're not a jerk, we'll be good. All right. All right. Until next time, guys, it's going to be a journey.